What's up? May solar production, that's for sure. Hi. So May's been a fantastic month and we've actually managed to peak over the 1 megawatt hour for the first time since we've had our system installed. I wasn't sure this was happening in May, but it's been a really good month, as was April, where we got very close to doing the same. Hopefully this continues into June, although by looking at the weather forecast I think it's going to be quite wet and dreary for June, but we'll see how that goes. I was looking to get a video out for focusing more on the Cosy 9 itself, but I haven't quite got to the point where I'm comfortable releasing the video yet. It just needs a little bit of refinement and then I'll get it out. I want to make sure what I put out is as good as I can get it, but yeah, and hopefully it's informative. Anyway, May also generated our highest monthly savings so far since the system's been installed. So let's jump over and have a look at the production figures for the month. And as always, if you could like the video, make any comments and subscribe, it'd be fantastic if you haven't already. Cheers.
As always, a quick review of the system. We've got 18 445 volt Aiko all black panels. The 10 north-south panels to the rear of the house are fitted with the Tigo optimizers. These go back to an 8 kilowatt Sunsynk hybrid inverter, paired with two 15.5 kilowatt hour Fogstar batteries, a Cosy 9 heat pump, a 7 kilowatt Zappi, and we've got an MGZS EV. As mentioned, May was a fantastic month for the solar, with many days peaking over 40 kilowatt hours, with a high of 46.5, and our lowest day was 13.6. In total, we did 1,067.2 kilowatt hours for the month, which is amazing that we've managed to tip over the 1 megawatt hour. So let's have a look at the Tigo portal, see how the north and south panels compare to each other. The north panels did a total of 222 kilowatt hours, with the south doing 325 kilowatt hours. The reclaimed amount was 11.2 kilowatt hours, which is about 2%. So next month I'll do an analysis to see how many kilowatt hours we've actually reclaimed and if Tigo optimizers are overly worth it. But I think it's good to see that unless you've got a particular reason for them, it's probably not worth the extra. So looking at how all the arrays compare to each other, we've got the 5 north-facing panels doing 15.5% of the total. We've got the 5 south-facing panels doing 35%, and the remaining 8 panels on the east are doing 49.5%. So it's almost like we've simulated an east-west array with our 10 north and south versus 8 east. So adding in May to our solar totals, we've brought ourselves up to 2,866.1 kilowatt hours so far in 2025. This gives us a grand total so far of 5,800.5 kilowatt hours. So we're getting very close to my target of 6,000 kilowatt hours, which I think we're going to smash past quite easily going into June. And who knows, until see how close we can get to that 7 megawatt hour mark. So we can get a fair comparison on how much we're actually saving. What I've done here is I've pulled out how much our inverter has recorded that the house load has used up. This includes the home and the heat pump. And you can see here we've used a total of 688 kilowatt hours for the month. And the bar charts above show the PV in green and the house load in red. So there's only a few days in May where we actually used more energy than we produced, but with the batteries that would have seen us through quite easily being completely off grid. Onto the Cosy 9. So I thought I'd have a quick look and see how we did last year in terms of gas usage compared to this May, given that obviously most of our heating at the moment is just for hot water. Having a look back at May 2024, we used 493 kilowatt hours of gas. This May we used 42 kilowatt hours of gas, which means that would have all been for heating. So if we deduct off roughly what our cooking is versus our gas usage, that gives us around about 452 kilowatt hours of gas used, which means our boiler would have converted that into 407 kilowatt hours of heat. Looking at how much energy the Cosy 9 has pulled in, it used 159 kilowatt hours of electric and produced a total of 519 kilowatt hours of heat, giving us a COP of 3.26 for the month. Now, this is having a quick look at it. This is primarily because we've had a few days where we've needed a bit of extra heating. And so I had a look back at May from this year to last year to compare the average daily temperatures. And as you can see here, they're around about 1 to 2 degrees lower this year than they were last year. So that probably indicates why we're using a little bit more heat than we were the year before. But on a whole, I think we're around about very similar. Having a look over at the My Energy portal, we did a total of 181.8 kilowatt hours of charging on the car, which gave us a cost of £12.73, and that was for 591.8 miles at an average efficiency of 3.2 miles per kilowatt hour. This equates to around about 0.022 pence per mile. And if I compare this to if we bought a petrol car, which was averaging around about 40 miles to the gallon at £1.30 a litre, this would have cost £87.47, which means we've saved a total of £74.74 this month just on fuel. As always, the SMMT figures are out for May, and BEVs are up 25.8% with plug-in hybrids up 50.8%, with petrol down, diesel down, and hybrid electric vehicles up as well. So it's all going in one direction, which is pretty obvious. So how does this all compare? It means our house uses around about 528.6 kilowatt hours for the month. Cosy 9 used 159.4 and the EV at 181.8. So as you can see, we're quite a high energy use house, with 60% of our electric actually being used in the house, as opposed to the EV and the heat pump. And it's this figure of 869.8 kilowatt hours is what I will base my comparison on when I come to the savings in just a moment. So on to the savings. As always, we're on the Intelligent Octopus Go tariff, which gives us 7 pence per kilowatt hour off peak for 6 hours, and we've got 27.7 pence per kilowatt hour peak rate, and we'll be comparing this to the price cap rate, which is 27.03 pence per kilowatt hour, and we also get paid a total of 15 pence per kilowatt hour for everything we export. Now, we've carried on our usual strategy of importing energy overnight to charge the batteries up and then discharging it in the evenings, which means our import from Octopus has a total of 1,331 kilowatt hours for this month. This costs £93.83, but we were able to export 1,195 kilowatt hours, and we were paid for this £179.25. As we saw before, our house uses a total of 869.8 kilowatt hours, which means our price cap bill would have been £235.11. Our net bill was minus £85.42, which means we saved a total of £320.53 for this month. This is just for the electric, and this doesn't include the savings for the gas, which we'll come on to in just a second. So up onto the gas savings. Our gas unit rate is 6.85 pence per kilowatt hour versus the Intelligent Octopus Go off-peak rate at 7 pence per kilowatt hour, which is what we exclusively use to run the heat pump, either via load shifting overnight or via the battery usage. So the Cosy 9 usage this month was 159.4 kilowatt hours. So this put out 519.8 kilowatt hours of heat, giving us a COP of 3.26. To get the same heat output with our old 90% efficient gas boiler, we would have needed to have bought in 577.5 kilowatt hours of gas. This would have cost us £39.56 versus the Cosy 9 running cost, which was £11.16. This gives us a saving of £28.40 just on gas this month. If we add that to the savings from the electric, that gives us a total saving this month of £348.93, which is just amazing. I can't believe we're actually saving this much money per month.
And just as a reminder, here's my Octopus Energy referrals. If you switch to Octopus, you can split £100, so I get £50 off my bill, you get £50 off your bill. And if you're getting a heat pump or solar installed, you get a £100 discount off of each installation, and I get £100 back off of my bill. So feel free, they're there if you need them, and links are in the description.
So what has this done for our payback? If we add the savings from this month to last month's £880 saving, we're now stand at a total saving of 2025 of £1,209.98, which means we've got just £13,961.98 to go, or 85.6%.
Hello again. As you can see, we've already generated £1,200 saving in just 5 months so far this year, and that's not including any of the fuel savings that we've had by driving the electric car versus petrol. So I think our investment in this system is definitely paying off, and hopefully we're still on track for that sort of 5-6 year payback. I'll have a video out obviously next month, which will be our first 1 year anniversary for the system, so I'll try and get as much information in that as possible. In the meantime, like I say, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop any comments, that'd be great. Cheers.